We've done 3 Cricket World Cups. We were official agents for the Cricket World Cup in India.
Yeah.
Official sponsorship and partnerships with Chelsea Football Club, Manchester City. Sports tourism sector is growing at an extremely fast pace. 17.5 CAGR.
And what's the global market size for something like this?
Close to $600 billion. Client of ours hosted their board meeting at Stamford Bridge. Through the main screens, the LED screens, it said, "Welcome XYZ client."
Wow.
Top Chelsea legends come in and interact with them and then give them a tour of the stadium. And you could say, I wanted to go to the Paris Olympics. I want to watch Neeraj Chopra athletics event. The next day we want to have lunch with Neeraj Chopra.
Yeah.
Very, very money can't buy, which is actually money can buy experience.
Yeah, it's essentially money can buy. Welcome, Monish. Welcome to the Plush Podcast. Great to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me, Rahul.
Yeah. I want to get into it. You recently started DreamSetGo. So tell us more about DreamSetGo and how has your personal passion for sports shaped the company's vision?
Yeah, I'd love to. So in fact, this October, we're going to complete 5 years.
Okay.
So, prior to DreamSetGo, I've had a long 8 to 10 year career in investment banking and global markets. So I used to travel a lot to London. I was at Deutsche Bank. And I've been a Chelsea fan for nearly 3 decades now.
Yeah.
And every time I'd go to London, I'd want to catch a Chelsea game. I remember making desperate phone calls to a friend or a relative before I'd land saying, there's a game at the weekend. I'd like to watch it. And then I'd land up paying ridiculous amounts of money in trying to procure that inventory last minute and sit in one end of the stadium and watch the game. And it was one of those games that, my eyes went onto a hospitality box and I said, look, there's got to be a better way of buying these tickets.
Yeah.
There's got to be a company in India which helps fans get access to some of the best experiences, whether it's watching a game from the best seats or a hospitality box, or even some kind of experiences, sports experiences before or after the game, which helps you engage with the athletes of the first team. Upon my research, I found out there was none, right? There was no organized player, trusted player in the market that was doing that.
And when was this?
This was all throughout 2012, 2013.
So over a decade ago.
Yeah, over a decade ago. And, it's just, and then I did, post Deutsche Bank, I did my own travel startup, which I love to call my most successful failed startup. And it was the most expensive MBA that I've had.
Yeah.
But that gave me all the learnings that I needed to equip me for being the entrepreneur that I need to be.
Yeah, you were in the trenches. Yeah.
To run DreamSetGo successfully. So I've lived with this problem for a while, this idea for nearly 7-8 years before I knew I wanted to act on it and I wanted to be the individual that solves this problem. And that led me to go and meet Harsh Jain, who was one of the most successful entrepreneurs over the last decade. He runs a very successful unicorn called Dream11, and he's also the CEO and founder of all of Dream Sports, right? So the meeting in October 2019 was around saying, I'd love for you to invest in this idea. And he said, why don't you come and start it within the Dream Sports universe and, we'll fund it and go out, use our network and build your idea and make it a successful one that solves a real problem in sports, right?
Yeah.
So the vision is to make sports better across the sports. And DreamSetGo is doing it by ensuring that we can provide clients with an incredible sports experience.
Nice. And during your research, you must have obviously come across the market opportunity that lies in India, right? So tell us something about that.
So in fact, I think it's a huge opportunity because, like I said, there was no organized player that was doing it.
Yeah.
At that time, it was either very successful travel companies adding a sports element occasionally here and there if there was a large tournament, or it was smaller sporting companies that were just probably solving for providing a ticket to an international marquee tournament, but not giving you access to global sports. and solving a problem by taking care of your entire end-to-end travel experience with sports at the heart of it, right? So, during our research, we spoke to a lot of our target audience. We spoke to high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth individuals. We spoke to a lot of corporates, and there was not one organized player that was doing that. The Indian sports tourism sector is growing at an extremely fast pace.
At what rate?
Growing at around 17.5 CAGR, while the tourism itself is growing at around 10%. So it gives a huge opportunity. People want experiences. The disposable income is rising.
And what's the global market size for something like this?
So global market size for sports tourism is around close to $600 billion. It's a little short of that. And that's growing rapidly as well. And, all of tourism in India is supposed to hit a number of close to $400 billion by 2030. And I believe that sports will play a huge number in that. I'm expecting that number to be anywhere between 15 to 20% of that.
Interesting. So, as you rightly mentioned, you're not just offering a ticket to a sporting tournament. You handle the whole end-to-end itinerary for someone who's, let's say, trying to go for the Soccer World Cup or perhaps a World Cup in any other sport in another country, or the Paris Olympics that just happened as well. So you handle everything. Do you offer like an individual ticket as well? If I want to just go and maybe watch a game and maybe not attend, 7 or 8 games, or just maybe like, watch one game for the experience.
Yeah.
Or so do you do that as well? Or is it like planning the entire itinerary?
I'll actually break this into step by step to give you a perspective of everything that we do, right? You could come to me.
Yeah.
And you could say, I wanted to go to the Paris Olympics. I want to watch Neeraj Chopra's athletics event.
Yeah.
And can you give me a ticket in the box?
Yeah.
Right? And we'd be able to solve that for you.
Yeah.
We'd get you one of the best boxes. And if you just want an individual ticket, we'll get you a ticket in that box, right? Next, you could come say that, look, we're like-minded 20 people traveling together. I want the entire box. But at the same time, the next day, we want to have lunch with Neeraj Chopra.
Wow.
And can you take care of our entire itinerary for 3 nights, 4 days? We'd love to see a little bit of Paris. We, take care of our transfers, get us the best hotel. We'd want to watch 7, 8 events. And, probably one of the events we'd like to watch with one of the Indian legends, right? And we'd plan this entire bit for you. And third, you could be, coming to me saying, you know what, I've got 300 people in my team. I want to do a retreat. I want to take them for an F1 race. 3 nights, 4 days. We want to have fun in Singapore. We want to watch F1, probably meet with a legend, and plan everything from visas to flights to the entire itinerary for us. And we would do that as well, right? So right from a ticket to a sporting experience to the entire sports travel package is where DreamSetGo's strength is. We've got 2 verticals. We've got a team that specializes in dealing with high net worth individuals and solves for ensuring that we're able to provide them the best access to the best boxes, the best seats, the best sports experiences. And the second one, which looks after corporates and ensures that, we can take care of the entire sports travel itinerary for them for large.
And obviously, you get to leverage the Dream 11 network and the muscle behind Dream 11 as well.
Yeah, so I think the largest advantage for us is that we've got amazing brains that work within the entire Dream Sports ecosystem. So, whether it's access to the CHRO or the CMO at the Dream Sports level, or even getting mentorship at the highest end by the co-founders, who's the CEO and the COO of Dream Sports, right? And getting advice into how we should structure ourselves, how we should get more efficient, what kind of partnerships we should do.
Yeah, what kind of partnerships would you have for something like this? Because I can understand someone selling a ticket to watch Neeraj Chopra, but then having a lunch with Neeraj Chopra the following day, that requires some serious logistics.
And there's been a lot of work that's gone in over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But
how do you pull something like that off?
So I think we've got 2 very specialized teams. One is a sports partnerships team. The other is a sports experiences team. The sports partnerships team focuses on ensuring that we can get official rights for some of the best tournaments around the world. So I'll give you an example. We started off by doing official sponsorship and rights partnerships with Chelsea Football Club, Manchester City, and Manchester United. We were exclusive in India with them for a period of 2 to 3 years. That ensured that our clients got not only the best seats or the boxes, but they also got some of the best experiences, right? Watching the first team train, getting a legend to give you a tour of the stadium, hosting your board meeting at the stadium where one of the top CXOs of the club walks in and has a chat with you, having a dinner in the dressing room. So these are the kind of experiences that we did, pitch side experiences. So just going by the pitch before the game starts.
Before the game starts.
Yeah, before the game
On the
starts,
same day.
right? And literally watching them train this close to you. Having a first team player come into your box, sign a jersey for you, take a couple of photographs, etc. So those are the kind of experiences.
Are there any commercials there that you have to take care of with, let's say, the athlete when you're organizing a meet and greet, let's say?
I think so. These commercials are more from the partnership standpoint. So the partnerships that we do, we'll ensure that we take exclusive rights and we sign these partnerships on for a certain period of time, and then we ensure that the commerce is basically taken care of in the sales that we make.
Right.
But besides these partnerships, post that we basically, we've done 3 Cricket World Cups. We were official agents for the Cricket World Cup in India, official agents for the T20 World Cup that happened in Australia in 2022, official agents for the T20 World Cup that happened in US and West Indies right now.
Yeah.
We were sub-agents for the Rugby World Cup. We've done pretty much all F1 races. We were official partners with F1 experiences. We do all Grand Slams across tennis. So our clients get access to cricket, football, tennis, golf, rugby, Formula One through us, right? And we built these strong partnerships which can give them the best access, right? When you go to a F1 race, if you get access to Paddock Club, it's probably the best experience that you can have. Best viewing experience. The previous day you walk through the pit lane, you get to see the race car drivers and their entire technical teams this close up.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenal experience. And on the other side, which is the sports experiences side, we've got a very talented team that that works with talent and athletes and legends across the globe, right? And we ensure that we do the right kind of partnerships so that our clients can get access to some of the best talents and very, very money can't buy, which is actually money can buy experience.
Yeah, it's essentially money can buy.
Yeah.
But talking about money, like how much would something like this cost? Let's say I want to go and watch Wimbledon. I want the best seats, and I want to meet Djokovic, for example.
Yeah.
Right. As an individual.
Yeah.
And I tell you, look, you handle everything, handle my tickets, flights, stay, a few of the experiences that are around London, and I want to watch, a Wimbledon final. Hopefully, Djokovic is in there, but let's say, fourth round onwards, or semis or whatever, and I want to meet the guy.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm a huge fan, and you'd be able to handle that for an individual and for.
I think for an individual, honestly, it works out extremely expensive.
Yeah,
because
how much was something like that cost, ballpark?
I mean, as an individual, if you want to kind of meet with Djokovic and do this entire thing, your whole trip is going to cost you more than $1 million.
Okay.
But I think the smarter part is when we kind of create this for premium groups.
Yes.
20 people, 30 people traveling together.
Perhaps like a white
CEOs, correct. And private wealth management companies wanting to take their clients for an
more
experience.
feasible for something like that.
So, Wimbledon's been an absolute hit for these things. So,
right.
Wimbledon, if you're looking at tickets to a final, doing a meet and greet with an Andre Agassi or Tim Henman or Bryan Brothers, etc.
But these are some of the retired guys.
Yeah.
Current guys,
it's, I think, very difficult through the tournament to be able to kind of engage with an athlete. Most of the guidelines also don't allow them to do events during a particular tournament.
Yeah. And this would be across sports.
Across sports. Yeah.
So I can't go for the World Cup and say, hey, my group wants to meet Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma because they don't have the bandwidth. But maybe I can meet some of the commentators, sports.
So you want an experience with Saurav Ganguly or Rahul Dravid or
Ravi Shastri.
And, we've worked with all these athletes in the past, and we've been able to do successful meet and greets for our clients where it's, where it's just not a panel discussion, but it goes a lot more deeper. It's a lot more engaging. It's a lot more personal. It feels like an experience that somebody will take to their grave.
Sure. That's and how much would something like that cost if you're doing it for like a group?
So if you're doing pretty much, if it's a 30-member group, it again depends from tournament to tournament. But for a Wimbledon, uh, watching a semi-final, staying at the best hotel, doing a nice 3-day itinerary, and meeting with a legend for say a group of around 30 uh, would go north of around 12 and a half to 15 lakhs per person.
Per person.
Yeah. And, for the Cricket World Cup, for example, right? We had a lot of clients that came to New York, watched the India-Pakistan game, were invited to our gala dinner where we had Saurav Ganguly and Waqar Younis. We had booked
I saw that. Yeah.
the Conrad Midtown, which is right in the heart of New York. And we had a lot of experiences.
I watched that interview on YouTube.
Oh, I hope you like that. Yes. So a package like that for 3 night, 4 days with the best tickets and the best sporting experience, etc., would cost you somewhere end to end, excluding flights, at around 3.5 to 4 lakh rupees per person. So our packages can range anywhere from around 2.5 lakhs, where it's got a larger number of travelers and more like a gala dinner setup, to up to 20 lakhs if it's a very, very private experience for a smaller group of people.
So your wealth management companies and the top management at various corporates, these are, I guess, this is the right TG for something like that.
So our target audience is split into, I would say we've got 2 TGs as such.
Yeah.
One vertical of my team looks at high net worth individuals, and this could be either directly dealing with the client, which is B2C, or the second one would be dealing with private wealth management, PE, VC firms that want to kind of curate this experience for their clients. The second vertical of mine looks at corporates and larger corporate movements. This is MICE movements with a twist, which is, with the sports experience angle included within the itinerary and the package.
Sure.
We had more than 15,000 people for the Cricket World Cup, and half of that audience was corporate travelers.
These would be smaller MICE groups, because the larger MICE trips are typically, going to your Thailand and, some of these Dubai kind of
I think when we look at MICE, MICE is more than a 3,000 plus crore market. DreamSetGo is basically looking at the top 5 percentile of that market, because we want to look at corporates that want to create experiences and high-end experiences for their end users, dealers, clients, etc.
Sure.
And our forte is into creating experiences, and in that as well, we want to focus on sports.
Right. So, and Monish, you mentioned a lot of these international sporting events, right? Your Wimbledon and your Paris Olympics and the World Cup, which was in the US and in the Caribbean. What's the demand like for domestic sporting competitions within India? Because we also have several leagues here within India.
Yeah.
Pro Kabaddi and, soccer leagues and badminton leagues. What's the demand like for something like that?
So let me first talk more in terms of like a domestic level, in terms of tourism itself.
Yeah.
2 billion people within the country take domestic trips.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at the demand within India, it's at this point, it's a no-brainer that cricket dominates all of this, right?
Yes.
The IPL, any kind of bilateral tournaments where India is playing, or ICC tournaments. We've got 3 ICC tournaments over the next 8 years that are going to be hosted in India.
In India.
All have huge demand. But I think the entire sports landscape of India is changing, right? And it's a very fast-paced movement, which we're not able to kind of grasp right away. But you will see it that within the next decade or two, India is going to become a global sporting destination. And a lot of work is going through by the government at a grassroots level. Public and private sectors are working together to ensure that infrastructure is built.
Give us an example of what the government is doing.
So Khelo India, for example, is a beautiful initiative, right? It literally happens at a grassroots level. You can see that the sports ministries within each states, or even the Sports Authority of India, is spending a lot of time, energy, planning into ensuring that infrastructure gets better. At a grassroots level, sports is promoted. And at a domestic level, there is more and more sports that's happening.
And there needs to be a cultural shift as well, right? Because for this to be a viable career option for a lot of young kids growing up, you need that government support. You need that,
And that's why I think the public and the private sector are coming through together. You've got large companies like Dream Sports, which has the Dream Sports Foundation, which is spending a lot of money into athlete development programs, which is focused a lot outside of cricket. And there are thousands of athletes that are under this program, that get the facilities and the right kind of education and the right kind of facilities to be able to perform at the highest level. JSW Sports is doing a great job. The Reliance Foundation is doing an amazing job. So some of the larger corporates are coming in and ensuring that they're contributing towards making India a really massive sporting destination of the.
But do you think we're there yet, or this is something that's going to pan out over the next decade? Because let's say having the Olympics in India, is that, I know we've bid for it, I think 2036?
2036 is, the government of India has this vision of hosting the Olympics in India, and I'm pretty certain that we've got all the capabilities to be able to do that.
No, we've pulled off IPL and World Cups in cricket really well. But getting athletes from all over the world and having like one of those Olympic villages in place. And what sort of infrastructure changes does India need to make this a reality? Because let's face it, some of our traffic woes and our roads, they're not in the best of conditions, unfortunately, and it's getting better. The number of airports have doubled in the last 10 years, so that makes regional connectivity a lot easier. But what else can we do to ensure that we become a world-class sporting destination? And that gives us a lot of soft power as well, right?
Absolutely. And I think if you've observed the growth of India over the last 5 to 10 years, it's been solid, right? Look at our roads, the connectivity is the amount
of highways
that connect India from one part to the other. We've not seen a growth spurt like this in the the last decade's been amazing. Even if you look at our airports, there's some of the best international airports around the world, right? So
absolutely,
India is growing at a very fast pace, and we've got the right kind of momentum that's coming into sports as well. You can clearly see that the vision of the government is very clear into ensuring that sports is at the heart of it, and it starts happening at a grassroots level and continues all the way up. You are seeing more and more participation from athletes across different sports. It's not only cricket. You're seeing a lot of these leagues, whether it's kabaddi,
and that's refreshing to see.
It's football. And even international leagues, right? I think over the next decade, you're going to see a lot of pickle and paddle also happen here. And India's...
that's something easy for us to do.
Absolutely. India's picking up all kinds of sports. I think the hockey medal that we got at the Olympics is going to reignite that fire again. Our performance at the Paralympics has been amazing as well. And overall, with the right facilities, the right kind of partnership happening between the government and private sector, the right kind of grassroots development that's going on, we'll see the outcome of this within the next decade and two. Also, a very positive shift has started happening where a lot of these past legends and athletes have started creating their own programs. And they're ensuring that they're giving back. Like Dilip Sarkar has got his academy. Mary Com's got her academy. Karnam Maheshwari's got her academy. So they want to train the youth. They want to ensure that they are able to contribute at the highest level internationally. And they're working with the public and the private sector into making that dream a reality.
Right. And do you think, like, how are you leveraging some of these government initiatives? Do you work directly with the government, let's say on Khelo India? Is there some sort of partnership there?
No. So for our nature of the business, it's catering to sporting tournaments globally. It could be hosted in India, it could be hosted internationally, etc. But I think the initiatives that are coming along right now are ensuring that at the grassroots level itself, there's just so much momentum that's getting formed,
and you get a ringside view to that.
And there's a culture of sports that's being developed. People want to kind of be there at live sporting events. They want to kind of watch all kinds of sports which go beyond our favorite, which is cricket. And that entire shift actually helps businesses like ours, right? And it helps us kind of create these experiences, work closer with sporting bodies to ensuring that fan engagement is at the top of the funnel.
No, in fact, you also now have Indians, who are traveling abroad for sporting events, not just to witness, but to partake in some of these events as well. So you've got people who are traveling for marathons, people who travel for, let's say, your skiing and snowboarding. I enjoy snowboarding, and it's something that I learned, and I'm still not great at it. And I started learning it, but then COVID happened, and then I think I'm going to have to start all over again.
Yeah.
But I think more and more people are becoming more sporty as a nation, as a culture. And I think that's fantastic to see. One of the things I love about Australia when I went there was that everyone, you see about 3 or 4 in the evening, everyone is working out at Bondi Beach and, lifting some weights or doing some, push-up bars and parallel bars. So I'd love to see that here, more of that in India as well.
Absolutely. And I think that trend has anyways been ongoing.
Right.
India is getting into more and more of a culture of sports.
Yeah.
When you look at the individuals that travel internationally,
Yeah.
or for any kind of sports, whether it's domestic or international,
Yeah.
you're traveling for two reasons.
Yeah.
One is you're either traveling to watch something live,
Yeah.
or you're traveling to participate yourself.
Yeah.
Right. We've seen this. I think if I talk about high net worth individuals traveling to play sports, golf has dominated that.
Yeah.
Right. They would travel, ensure that they can play
Go to
around the golf
Scotland and
network
Correct.
and travel around the world to ensure that it's
Correct.
it's golf trips to just make sure that at the heart of it, it's the sport,
Right.
which is the core of your trip.
Yeah.
Similarly, it goes on for marathons, etc. Right?
You mentioned the Paris Olympics, which obviously we had Neeraj Chopra and Manu Bhaker and some of these other, some of our athletes that brought in some accolades for India. And we recently also had the Paralympics, where India did phenomenally well. I think we were in the top 20. I think we were ranked 18 or something. And we won about 29 odd medals. But I feel like some of these athletes haven't really gotten the support or the publicity that perhaps some of our other athletes in the Paris Olympics got. So what's your view on that? And I'd love to, for you to throw some light on some of these names who've done phenomenally well for India.
Yeah. So in fact, whether it's Avni or whether it's Praveen Kumar or Navdeep Singh, we've got 7 golds.
Right.
We've got 9 silvers and
13 bronze. Yeah.
And we've done phenomenally well. I think India is waking up to being more accepting towards our performance outside of cricket as well.
Yes.
Right. So to be fair, where we were probably a decade ago, where a lot of our Olympians weren't known as much.
Yeah.
Today, I think we know, with the work that's been gone by the government or even by the individuals, the hard work that they put in, right? The likes of Sania Mirza, Leander Pace, Rohan Bopanna for tennis, PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal for badminton.
Badminton, yes.
They've all been such champion ambassadors. Neeraj Chopra for athletics, right?
I think earlier the hard work was never lacking from an individual athlete's perspective, but perhaps the infrastructure of sport was not there, and corporates weren't willing to necessarily fund them because there was no ROI, perhaps. But I've seen that change as well over the last decade.
Yeah, we had, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were more than 20 sponsors of the IOA this year, right? And people want to put money, support our causes, our athletes, want to ensure that they get the best facilities. Right?
And our para athletes also deserve some of these accolades.
100%. So I'm saying the trend is changing, right? And where before a decade you just knew your cricket team, and very few names here and there, like a PT Usha or a Milkha Singh.
Correct.
Today you're well aware of all the athletes that are coming out of different sports, how they are performing domestically at international level. And I think the same trend's going to apply to the Paralympics as well.
Right.
It requires that some set of individuals to actually go out and create history and achieve larger things for the nation, for the rest of the nation to really take notice of them and appreciate the hard work that's going on. And I think the bar has been set. This is one of our best performances. It has got a lot of coverage right now. That's
The
one of the reasons why.
Paralympics?
That's one of the reasons now we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody is well aware that India has done phenomenally well. We've won 29 medals.
Yeah.
These are some of the individuals that are coming out and performing at, they've come through very difficult situations in life, and they've come out so victorious
Absolutely.
by achieving what they've achieved.
Yes.
And I think social media helps that as well, right? Because there's been huge coverage of this over social media.
We want to make sure that some of these names you mentioned, go viral.
Absolutely.
So more and more.
I think
people
Navdeep
share-
Singh went viral with his, this gold in javelin, right? And pretty much like even Avni, when she won the first gold for us in shooting, all of this have got the coverage that previously has lacked, and it's we're only going to go from strength to strength, and this is, all.
I think once we start
athletes.
seeing some endorsements and stuff for them, I think that's when they really
Yeah. And I think the
capture the imagination of people.
positive trend has started.
Right.
You will see a lot of these athletes now coming back and getting certain sponsorship.
Right. So, we've talked about how wonderful DreamSetGo is, and the size of the opportunity, that the market opportunity that exists. But these sort of businesses aren't easy, right? It takes a lot to pull something like this off. So what are some of the challenges that you face while, let's say, planning a trip? Because there's so many touch points and there's so many variables where something could go wrong. And these are all high net worth individuals and top, your CXOs at various companies that are attending these events. So there's not really too much room for error here, right?
Yeah, that's true. But that's where I think the first stage is the kind of team that you build.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Yeah.
We've hired a bunch of amazing senior individuals that have had the experience, the know-how of how to go about creating these kind of experiences. The next step is to ensure that you've got the best partnerships in place.
Yeah.
I think that's where being a part of the whole Dream Sports universe really helps us, because we are able to kind of get the right kind of partnerships, be introduced to the right kind of sporting bodies, and ensure that we're able to negotiate great experiences for our client. And then it requires meticulous amount of planning, right, at all stages, saying, right from your visas to your flights to on-ground execution, what kind of unique experiences to create for them, what kind of partners do you select that you work with, right? So there's a lot of research that goes into saying who's going to be your on-ground partner, right? That's going to be help you execute the best in an international destination. A lot of curation and ideation in terms of what kind of sporting experiences that we should create.
A lot of brainstorming.
Brainstorming, right? And then just meticulous execution, having the best team on board to execute it really well for the client.
Yeah.
But all of this comes out of basically two cultural elements for us, right? We hire people who are extremely passionate about sports, right? That want to ensure that we are able to create the best sports experiences for our client. And the second cultural element is that we put the user first.
Yeah.
So for us, our clients and our relationship comes above everything else, right? And with that culture, I think we're able to kind of be very meticulous and very precise right from our planning to our execution.
Right. I'm a sports fan as well. And when I'd gone to London, and because I've done a few things with my travel show, Plush Places, in the tourism space, I got a chance to visit Lord's and cover Lord's and stand at the balcony where Saurav Ganguly took his shirt off. I was very tempted to do the same, but better sense prevailed. And I think I saw some of these like England players training, pretty upfront. If I remember correctly, Jofra Archer was there, and I don't think he had made it to the team then, and I didn't know who he was. But it was nice to kind of like get up close to see some of their training routines. And since you're a Chelsea fan, I visited the Chelsea Football Club as well and walked through that tunnel with the music playing. I think Chelsea, the football club, they arrange this experience for you. Visiting the locker room and then walking through that tunnel and then waving to the crowds and all of that.
Yeah.
So these are some of the really memorable experiences. And this is not even like watching a game. This is just visiting an empty dressing room, right?
Yeah.
And these are still etched in my memory. So I can only imagine what a fantastic experience it would be for someone who's actually getting to, meet some of these athletes and really, go behind the scenes. But tell us of a time when perhaps you've really exceeded the expectations of a client, any of these sporting events where the client has walked away feeling really thrilled.
Yeah, so I'll give you a couple of examples, and some of them my favorite, right? A client of ours hosted their board meeting at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
All through the main screens, the LED screens, it said "Welcome XYZ client."
Wow.
They hosted their board meeting in one of the premium suites, which overlooked the ground. We had top Chelsea legends come in and interact with them, and then give them a tour of the stadium.
Yeah.
When they were taken to the dressing room,
Yep.
all their names had basically jerseys hung where the players' jerseys are hung during a match day. So they were able to kind of, to their surprise, have a jersey, the latest Chelsea jersey with their names on it, and it was handed to them by the legend. So these kind of experiences that really make clients feel very, very valuable. Then we had a set of premium HNI clients, 10 of them visit Manchester United. And on a Saturday, they saw the first team train. That evening, they had dinner with a legend. And the next day, they went and saw the match from one of the best suites.
Who was the legend?
They actually went with Dennis Irwin.
Uh-huh.
And there was one more legend I can't recollect. But basically, two legends that they had dinner with. And that's the kind of, we ensure that, those are the kind of experiences we're able to give out.
Any memorable experiences with our local domestic heroes as well?
Yeah, so I mean,
sporting stars.
Actually, I'll tell you about cricket first, right?
Yeah.
And when we were in Australia for the T20 World Cup, we got 20 of our very premium high net worth individual clients that were hosted on Michael Clark's yacht.
Oh, wow.
On a beautiful sunny day, he took his yacht out, and we had the backdrop of the
Sydney
Bridge and the Sydney Opera, and they got 3 hours of interacting with him, photographs, autographs, asking personal questions in terms of who he thought was the best cricketer. To no surprise of mine, Sachin Tendulkar was, of course, the name that popped out.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing experience,
Yeah.
and clients really enjoyed that, and we, it's been more than 2.5 years to that experience, and we still have.
Did anyone call him Pup?
So, and then here, I mean, in India, we've done a lot of experiences with, with our favorite, which is sort of Ganguly,
Yeah.
Rahul Dravid, with Sunil Gavaskar, with a lot of our past legends, right?
Mhm.
Virendra Sehwag, VVS Lakshman, Harbhajan Singh, etc. So, again, one of my recent favorites was an interaction that a corporate had for 30 of their employees.
Yeah.
And that was with Neeraj Chopra before he went for Paris. And Neeraj is just so warm and honest and individual
Yeah.
that I think all those clients walked away feeling very, very humbled by the entire experience.
Yeah.
Right? So we love creating these experiences for our clients. And
Right.
we love seeing the happiness that it brings to individuals when they meet with their sporting legends.
Right. So let's flip this now, right? A lot can go wrong on a trip like this. Any experiences where there's been some disruption or things haven't gone as planned, and how did you handle something like that? It sounds like a behavioral interview question at a job. You're a Deutsche Bank, corporate guy yourself.
So, I mean, I think crisis management is something that you've got to be ready for.
Yeah.
With sporting tournaments, a lot of things could sometimes go wrong. Weather can play a huge factor as well. You've got a cricket game, and the rain gods could come down
Yeah.
on you, and the match could get wiped off, right? Sometimes it's about ensuring that you're able to transparently communicate with the clients. I think with us, we're very open with them at a stage when we're finalizing things, where we give them certain scenarios. It comes a lot out of experience as well, saying that if scenario A happens, then this will be our fallback plan, etc. So we like to be transparent with clients. We don't like to surprise them at the last minute. But I think sometimes it's interesting. Like, we had a lot of groups in Paris, and it's a lot about anticipation as well. There were tons of road closures in Paris for the Olympics. It was challenging to navigate from one end to the other. But that's where I guess anticipation and experience comes in. We had hired a lot of cars with local Paris suppliers, cars which were from Paris, very experienced transport partners. And then we had in advance ensured that, they had the visitor pass, which I think it was called pass due, that you had to kind of, register your vehicles, your clients, etc., to then go beyond certain zones. They had the gray zone and the red zone and the blue zone. And, it's understanding these details.
So you do your best to ensure a seamless experience, and that element of predicting what could go wrong is absolutely important in a business like yours, right? But then you have the weather, especially in countries like England, where it could just start raining, and perhaps there is a cricket match or like a soccer game, or something could be just washed.
I mean, let's take this example, right? Opening ceremony.
Yeah,
The first time it's happening outside a stadium.
yeah,
Along the River Seine.
yeah.
It's supposed to be planned on the driest day of the year in Paris,
Right.
right? To the exact contrary, it starts raining all through the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
But the team was proactive enough. We were checking the weather the previous day. We went and got ponchos for all our clients. We ensured that, at least they were equipped with having something to protect them through the rain,
Right.
And their experience didn't get compromised, which otherwise could have been far worse. Right?
And
Because
what happens if a day of cricket gets washed off?
I mean, it depends from tournament to tournament.
Do they get their money back?
Sometimes the face value of the money does get returned, and we, like I said, these are things that we're discussing and we discuss with our clients beforehand, and they're well aware of all the scenarios that that could shape up.
Right.
But if you've taken an entire trip, it's one component of the trip that cost money could get refunded.
Of course. Another refreshing aspect of sports in India is that, perhaps with IPL and other sports as well, that a lot of women have started watching sports and partaking in sports as well. And we've got, women's IPL as well.
Yeah.
And you've got your Sania Mirza and Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu, Mary Kom, they've brought accolades to India. So there's a growing interest from women in sports. Any sporting events that you have organized for women only, or something of that sort?
Yeah. So, I mean, firstly, I think, again, this is a area that India is doing a really good job in. It's evolving at a really fast pace. The number of girls that are coming into sport now, when when you're traveling and you're seeing them train, the ratio of the number of girls that are participating at a very young age into sports is increasing, and it's very, very. I'm very happy to see that you see some of very, very strong talents coming out of India.
Yeah.
Some of the names that you took, whether it's women's cricket, whether it's badminton, whether it's football, whether it's track and field, India is doing phenomenally well. Table tennis, Shrija, and shooting, whether it's Manu Bakar. So in all fields of sports, women in India are doing phenomenally well, and it's becoming very interesting to watch, right? So if you see the number of events that are now covered on television, the broadcasting rights play, all of that is moving in a very positive direction. I think the initiative that the BCCI took with Mr. Jay Shah leading it up front with the Women's Premier League was the perfect step in that direction. It's been extremely successful.
And that helps, cricket for women globally, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even I personally remember when the Commonwealth Games was on and India was performing, and when we lost at the end of it, I was more upset than I would have been watching a men's game, right? And that's how engaged everybody is. That's how well covered it is now. That's the level of the sport now. And it's very refreshing to see that. And we're going to see more and more of this. The Women's World Cup that's coming up right now, we are seeing a huge demand for that.
What's the ratio like currently, men to women, when someone is going on a trip with DreamSetGo, whether in a group or whether individually?
We're seeing more than 10% of women that are traveling to watch sports actively because they're sports fan.
Yeah.
Normally, as a sports fan, you're
It's
gender
skewed
neutral.
towards men.
No, you're gender neutral. I
Yeah.
think we're seeing a lot of uh, men and women equally love sports and wanting to watch different kinds of sports. There's a huge fan base for tennis as well. So when we see our clients travel for a Wimbledon or an F1, it's young couples traveling together or parents taking their children along, boys and girls to go and watch a sport. We had, right now in Paris, we had this lovely couple come with their son and daughter. And both the kids were equally engrossed, in watching our Indian athletes and supporting them. So, so we're seeing, more and more participation, more urge to want to support an athlete or a team, etc. And it's amazing to see that the number of women that are actually traveling to watch sports is steadily.
But for example, like it could be a group of like 5 friends or guys who want to maybe go for the F1 races or want to go watch, an India game overseas or go watch Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And that's pretty commonplace, right? You'll have, I mean, we've all done it, like, 5 friends, we all want to go overseas and watch a game. Do you see that trend with women as well? That 5 women want to get together and maybe go watch,
I
Wimbledon?
think the trend that we're seeing right now is more couples traveling together to watch a sport.
Yeah.
So it's not only about saying 5 boys or 5 men have traveled together to watch a sport. It's a happy trend or a healthy trend to see that couples are traveling together and they're making a trip out of a sporting event. And you will see more and more.
We're moving in the right direction.
Yes, moving in the right direction, right? And we had this one corporate which was amazing. It was for one of the women's cricket event that was in South Africa, and we had this corporate send 30 of their female employees to go and watch that game. I think it was an India cricket event that was happening in South Africa,
Right.
and they had a blast, and there was 30 women, all in India jerseys, supporting the Indian team, and really enjoyed the trip with sports being at the core of it.
And, it'll be great to actually see men attending a women's only event, like a women's IPL game or a women's cricket World Cup or any other sporting event where it's just women participating.
Oh, there's equal demand right now. I mean, there's a lot of demand that we are seeing, even for the Cricket World Cup that's going to be
Women's cricket
in Dubai.
Yeah.
In the first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
And there's already a lot of requests that we are getting from corporates, from
So it's not just women,
individual groups that want to go to Dubai to watch the Women's World Cup.
Right.
So we are anyway seeing all of that. I mean, in Paris, when when PV Sindhu was playing, for example, or when our athletes were performing across, you had as many men and women in the arenas supporting them.
Yeah.
So it was good. I mean, it was not only one gender or one class or whatever. It's all of India together.
Great
It's a good
to see.
mix of it was a good equal mix.
Right. Monish, as a sports enthusiast yourself, which are some of your favorite sporting events that you like to attend? I know you mentioned you're a soccer fan. And also, which are some of your favorite sporting destinations?
So I think in terms of sporting events, the best sporting event that I've seen, that I was just personally floored, is Wimbledon. I think it's, if you like tennis, it is one experience that you must gift yourself in a lifetime.
What about it? Is
I
it
think
the vibe?
I think it's the vibe, the classiness of Wimbledon, just the courts, the entire arena. It's once in a lifetime. You must, and unless and until you've seen the other Grand Slams or, and you get to Wimbledon, you then realize what the aura of Wimbledon is.
Yeah.
The Paris Olympics was one of my first ones in terms of watching track and field live, right? And I was super engaged. I saw the 100-meter final live. I saw the high jump live. I saw the javelin live, and 200-meter final live. And I was...
So you watched Neeraj Chopra?
I did. So in fact, we had 8 amazing boxes, and we had so many clients that were at that event, and we had so many Indian flags. It was amazing. was amazing to see that. So, um, so yeah, I mean the entire experience of track and field is very different, and unless and until you've not witnessed it, you won't realize the energy of the stadium. Right, Stade de France had more than 80,000 people, and the way that conducted the event and how engaged the audience was, the vibe, global participation, phenomenal. Um, and yeah, I mean, for me personally, I've loved watching cricket events as well. I think one of the best games that I've seen in my life is the sheer excellence of Virat Kohli in the India-Pakistan game in Melbourne.
When he scored 82.
Yeah, I mean, when he made us win at the end.
See, I'm a
when he
stats
made
guy
us
as
win
well.
6. I think it's one of the most phenomenal games that I've seen.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, the atmosphere that Indians and Pakistanis had there,
Goosebumps. Yeah.
at the stadium and even after the stadium, how friendly we were and how, we were supporting each other was phenomenal.
I think this whole India-Pakistan thing is it's one of the greatest sporting rivalries, but I think that it's also a bit of a myth because, I mean, it's the same culture essentially, and people are friendly with each other. And I've met a lot of Pakistanis overseas in Dubai, and I lived and studied in the US, so I had a lot of Pakistani friends as well. So I think the rhetoric that we see here, it is what it is. But I think when you go overseas and at a sporting venue, there's a lot of bonhomie and there's a lot of camaraderie between India and Pakistan.
Yeah, and it's got its fair share of competition as well, right? I mean, we had.
But there's no bad blood.
We were at the T20 game in New York, right? And there was equal number of Indians and Pakistanis showed up. And, for a good 15 overs, they were very, very happy.
Yeah.
And the last 5 overs was all us. So, so I think that healthy competition exists. I think
as long as it's healthy. Yeah.
It brings out the best in sports.
Yeah.
You saw a great healthy competition at the javelin Olympics event.
Arshad Nadeem and
Neeraj, and it's great to see the level of dedication and passion that athletes all around the world have.
If you have to pick sport, and let's say your top 3 or top 5 sporting cities, which ones would you pick? So one is the events, but your favorite sporting cities.
I mean, I think purely for me, London is definitely one of them. I think it's an amazing experience to watch sport in London. I've seen a lot of sport in London, whether it's at the Stamford Bridge or whether it's at the Emirates Stadium or it's the Wembley or Lord or Oval. It's been an amazing experience of Wimbledon to watch sports in London. So that'll be, I think, my number one destination. I absolutely love watching sports in Mumbai, right? I think the crowd and the vibe and the passion that people have to show up and really support Team India or their athletes. Even I've seen a couple of kabaddi games here.
Wow.
And the vibe is phenomenal. I love watching sports in Mumbai. And the third one for me now would be Paris. I think Paris...
after the Olympics.
After the way Paris organized this entire tournament, right from security to the execution to how well they managed the on-ground logistics was phenomenal. I think they did a fabulous, fabulous job. And I love the way, Monaco Grand Prix is something that should be high up on everybody's list.
That's for the rich and the famous.
But I mean, it's an experience somebody should have at some point in their life. Or should at least aspire to be able to get that experience for
themselves. To close things out, what advice would you give to a traveler who's perhaps going on his first trip for a sporting event?
I think for a sporting event, it's very important to find the right trusted partner. That knows their...
Like DreamSetGo.
That knows their game. That's able to explain to you what is it that you're getting for your buck, right? What kind of seats are you getting? Where are you going to be in the stadium? The kind of detailing that my team gets into is the sun is going to be on which side? Is the sun going to be on your face or are you in the shade? And what kind of an experience?
Those nuances and those insights.
Absolutely. How do you get to the stadium? If it's a high net worth client or an ultra high net worth client that's buying a box seat, you want to just ensure that they get the right parking, they're able to get the car as close to the stadium or within the stadium. So it's about finding those kind of details and assisting them with ensuring that they get the best experience getting into the stadium and at the stadium. Then it's building the right kind of sports experiences, etc. But coming back to your question, it's important to plan, knowing that, how do I get to the stadium? Where am I seated? Uh, Planning for the weather. I think it's extremely important. Please check the
So
weather
do's
app.
and don'ts.
Check the weather
Carry
app.
certain gear.
Yeah. And also always check, every stadium has different nuances and different items that you can carry, you cannot carry. We went for the Super Bowl. You had to bring all your stuff in a transparent bag. Right. In the Paris stadiums or whatever, because of the weather, you could take an umbrella.
Right.
In a lot of stadiums internationally, you can't take an umbrella.
Just to ensure there are no surprises
So
there.
you just want to ensure that you've checked what are the items that you can carry within the stadium. And I think with a trusted partner, they should be able to kind of help you with all that information. Get technologically savvy. A lot of tournaments around the world now have e-tickets, and your tickets are transferred to you on your app. So do that in advance. Make sure that you've got your tickets downloaded. It's either on your app or you've added it to your Apple Wallet or any of the other wallets that if you're using, if you're on an Android. And just ensuring that, if you don't have internet at that point, or if the data is low, you've got your tickets and the QR code can be scanned.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, things like that. Carry water, be hydrated.
Yeah.
Ensure that you're carrying, a lot of stadiums around the world are nowadays cashless. So ensure that you're carrying a Forex card or a debit card or a credit card that can work.
And that's an increasing trend. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, this has absolutely been fantastic and great to get some wonderful insights from you and learn more about DreamSetGo and also about your personal favorites. Monish, if someone has to find you online, where can they find you and where can they find DreamSetGo?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. DreamSetGo, we've got a really good team that rewards very, very quickly. So we're available on dreamsetgo.com. Leave us a note, and an expert from my sports team will reach out to you to ensure that we can make this experience real.
Great. Thank you so much, Monish. This has been an absolute pleasure, and we must do this again at some point again.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you.